Actually, we're set up with
But it's
too.
Dollar Tree special.
Really?
That's what they have. I went to the country market, they didn't have any, but I could buy them.
ADS pipe.
So,
Yeah,
These
plastic.
are better than ones I
It's
had.
a lot higher than that bottom time.
Yeah, thank you.
And, yesterday, today I was talking
Brand new one.
about getting a bigger one. Awful on it.
Yeah, well, he don't think the pocket, because I priced that too, it's called electrical.
Yeah, you.
good.
That's about $600 a stick.
Y'all get together on it.
Where is
Well, I
this?
just don't know when we talk, we're gonna work it out tomorrow.
Then they have an extra one somewhere.
Judge, do you have an extra copy of the agenda?
I don't even have one myself.
I've got one you can have.
Would you mind if I steal it?
Only 3 things on it, I kind of memorized it.
It's not much.
I didn't even look at it, so.
Thanks, sir.
Animal shelter pavilion and U-Bill Community Care Center. That's
Yep.
it. Need more. 3 things.
Zach, you get the TV figured out?
TV's working, but I don't know if our,
Sam?
I don't know what to sound.
No, yours is.
Are you showing you're getting a signal on your receivers?
They're on.
Mics in there?
It says no.
Does it actually say no?
Yeah.
Just say go away.
Says no. I guess they work off Bluetooth.
No, shouldn't be, because he's got a mic in cord right here.
You're welcome. Thought I would return favor.
Sweet.
What's this water pump? Doesn't say nothing, did you approve that, I guess, already? Brittany said, so the rate starts, that's a water pump. You care if I hit this? No, do you? There you go. Bluetooth or radio?
She didn't ask me about it.
I don't want either one.
Specifically.
I don't either. I didn't turn my email notifications on.
I went up to the road barn, about the orange, loaded up Todd. He ran.
Got there's a button.
I'm looking at the road.
Says microphone.
But hold on, is your receiver box on? Does that receive the signal from the microphone?
I did something.
Hey.
See, I can tell if we figure something by pushing up the button.
Yeah, right.
It all also goes to some plug and play back in.
Right. I don't know a lot about everything, but I know a little bit about some things.
Right.
And I have a little luck here around here.
You
Better
definitely
be
know
lucky.
more about this than I do, I promise you that. I just bought one truck up the road,
4 new microphones for our band at
then they just swapped.
$300 a piece for the band last month. And they ain't even wireless.
And then they
What is that?
come back and both.
Microphones.
Back.
I bought 3 of them.
2 million. In 550. Yeah.
Those are Caterpillar.
Was this about gonna be stored up there to the fire? Those are. Those would be just my thoughts on it. And then if they're closer to a quarry where it's cheaper to haul it, they'll let the quarry haul it.
I had Kathy.
That's the starting point. Right.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, life's gonna be on this no sugar.
And I know they patched the.
Oh, that's sad.
They should just wrote no good.
No fun.
Yeah. On there.
And then they took Easy Street.
Dang it, I want diabetes.
Signing up, right?
That's it.
Cover that whole spot.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Yeah. I'm not, I don't know how much, but, all right. We'll call a meeting to order, and, a special call meeting tonight of Prince County Fiscal Court. And Jim, if you would, you open in prayer, please?
I will.
I will.
Father, we thank you for another day. We thank you for this opportunity to come meet tonight and discuss our county business. And as we always do, ask your guidance and your wisdom in the decisions we make. We thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who came to this earth and lived as a man and died for the forgiveness of our sins. And it's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's say our pledge to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank everyone out in the audience for coming tonight. Dan, he was sitting out there ready to attend, and he's on call, so off he goes to E-Town, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we wanted to do this special call meeting so we could have a good conversation and focus basically on just 3 items, and that's all we'll discuss tonight is those 3 items. I know I don't have the agenda, but I know what's on it. We have the animal shelter, and then we have our community building, pavilion, farmer's market, etc. That's another item on our agenda, and then we have the U of L Health on our agenda. So Jim asked me if I could, I'll just go ahead and give you the floor early on, and you can kind of discuss. Go ahead, I guess.
Okay, I asked guys if we could just, the 3 men, the Dan, me, and Roger Moore there, we had a couple of real long meetings, and we hashed this out. And anyway, this drawing right here is, this is what we came up with.
You doing the animal shelter first?
And anyway, we discussed short-range plans and some long-range plans with the animal shelter and the pavilion, especially the animal shelter. And I just want to touch base with it. Y'all should have all this in your packet that I gave you. What we were looking at is to build the animal shelter here behind the dollar store with a storage building on one end of it. And our thoughts were if we do this, then we could take the storage building where the animal shelter is now. Okay, move the animal shelter into this building, and then move all that storage, whatever we got over in that building, over to here. Not all the tires and things, but use this building mainly for storage for vehicles, sheriff's vehicles, or any vehicle that sets out, in the weather. It could be stored in here. And then eventually dismantle the building where the animal shelter and the storage building is now. We put a new roof on that thing about 2 years ago. It cost us $20,000. So the metal's good. Just dismantle it and hire a contractor and take that building and build it right beside this new animal shelter behind the dollar store. Okay? And then move the recycling from their current location into this new building. And that way they've got this whole new building, a lot bigger than they've got now. And then after recycling's moved in, then we can dismantle the recycling building the same way, move it to the road barn, and rebuild it as a salt barn. And we can do it. I've got plans to do it. So that way, that property where the animal shelter and the recycling is now, kind of an eyesore for things that are coming down the road. The assisted care living, the new pavilion's going to be right there. U of L's probably going to build something in that grassy area out, in the shopping center there. So that's going to be a place that's going to be built up over the next several years. And we were thinking, eliminate that eyesore of the recycling center being right in the middle of all that. We could clean that lot up, and either we could sell it or we could keep it for the county for EMS building or whatever. So that was the long-range plans, okay? But anyway, the short-term plans is this animal shelter that we drew up here, and regardless of what we do, whether we build it with the storage building on it or we don't, that's what we're here for tonight, to discuss what we want to do. But there are several things that needs to take place right now, starting now, and you've got that also in your packet, and I'll just kind of go over it. One is we need to obtain a title search on the property to make sure there's no easements or anything that would prevent us from building there. We need to have a surveyor to come and mark the property lines so we know where the property lines are and how far we can stay away from them. Level out the lot, knock down the high spots, which has already been done. We need to have Todd to deliver us a load, probably one load of 57s to spread on that driveway going back in there now, so as vehicles are coming and going in there, they're not tracking mud across the dollar store parking lot and out on the 155. We need to check with the city of Taylorsville and find out where the closest sewer lines and water lines hookups are. Electric supplier, I'm pretty sure it's Salt River, there's a couple poles right there close. We can go underground to this building, no problem. 150 feet, we can go up to 200 feet if you use 3-inch PVC pipe, but we can go underground to it. And then to talk to the city of Taylorsville about maybe what they can contribute monetarily to the project. And then decide on a building plan, which is what we're gonna hash out some tonight. And then get architectural drawings for it, and then obtain quotes for it. So that's basically what we put together, so. I'll open it up to anybody. I do have.
Do you have these numbered by like this is the order that you wanna do these things in, or just, this is what's?
Well, no, it's really kind of the order they need to be done.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that, observation, that this is an order that would probably need to be done.
You know, I looked at like, you know, if I were building a home, you know, what do I start with? Okay, first of all, you gotta have the lot, then you gotta figure out where you're gonna put the house on the lot, and then you gotta have the electric, you know, the water, property lines, stake it off, blueprints. So, yeah, that's pretty much in order of the way it needs to be done.
I didn't have this discrepancy with it, I was just asking.
No, I'm just.
And basically, if I can, Jim, you know, he makes a good point about the title search on the property, about what type of, you know, easements already exist, and that's what that'll show. Marking the property, you know, we know that behind the dollar store, the creek is a line, and then the school is a line, but I can't tell you where the school's line is exactly.
Well,
The school line's
quite-
pretty close, it moves pretty
Yeah.
close in there, I know that.
Yeah, but we'll need pins and
Yes.
stakes.
This was just sold not long ago, you don't think that the pins are
Well, they're probably,
I looked for them, but I couldn't find them.
you know, they could be there by the dollar store, but the ones between us and the school. And then, if we do get all that surveyed, whenever we decide to do Ray Jewel, the survey will be done.
Yeah.
You know, do it all the way, this survey.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's been surveyed
let me just say this.
Is there a recorded survey?
Well, but if the pins ain't marked, you know, we're still out there running around, look, you know,
But you know, the
unbeknownst.
lot that we're gonna put the animal shelter on, right behind the dollar store, is 11 point some acres, and that's it, right, square right there. Okay, we don't go down to the creek, we only go about 50 feet down from the property line of the dollar store. The 22 acres behind it that goes to Ray Jewel is a separate piece of property, which it's got access, like looks like 100 feet or so, all the way out to 55. So
We own that,
we do,
It's
we own all
It's
that.
just track separate.
different track,
Yeah.
different deed.
And that track right there is the way it was bought from, I don't know if it's Corps of Engineers or the government gave us the loan to do it. It cannot be used for anything except a park. Cannot be used to put any structures
Some
on
of that
it.
bigger track?
Yeah, the 22 acres.
The one that goes all the way to the bridge.
And Dan got
That
that,
shouldn't have hit us in.
Dan got that
Right.
from Todd today, that lien or whatever, a title, and, so, but this tract where behind the dollar store, 11 acres, we should be fine.
You know, basically, we have 33, 34 acres from the dollar store to the bridge. Cheryl, if you don't mind, could you all check out, do some research on that? And, so we can have that in writing about, you know, the restrictions. And I'm sure it would be just.
Which tract are you referring to?
The 11-acre tract.
Well, Ed, and then the other tract that we own, I think Jim's got the track numbers.
I've got the deed book and page numbers in the courthouse on both of them. You can have them, see if you can have to go over there and get them.
Yeah, well, they'd be easy to get, and I'm sure that whatever restrictions is on the deed, what Todd said, if that's the accurate restriction, it'll show up on the deed.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, so, okay, thank you. And, you know, going on down now, you know, granted, the animal shelter is not gonna be down there by the creek or on over by the bridge. It's gonna be on this leveled out spot, you know, behind the dollar store. And it's pretty safe to assume that that's on our property. And, but we do need to check for overhead Salt River power lines and, you know, well, there could be stuff recorded that hadn't been utilized, so I do agree with the title search. And, you know, getting the rock and checking with the city of Taylorsville.
Well, we may have them dump something other than 57s, like some sort of base material.
I think three.
No, it's
There's
got,
already been a road.
it's got a good base to it.
Yeah, they spent money and put
Oh, yeah.
the road in.
I didn't know it
It's
was
got a
already
solid
road there.
base. They've been
It's all,
hauling
it
back
goes
in
all the
there
way
for
down,
years.
all the way down that bottom.
Yeah, they
Trucked in
had,
there last year, I thought it was all dirt.
No.
They just ain't maintained it, but there is base there.
I'm talking about just from, the
The dollar
concrete
store.
parking lot, a dollar store, back just to, you know, a few feet
Yeah,
behind the
I
dollar
remember.
store, so when trucks go in there. Not all the way back, we don't need to go all the way back.
you know, even our trucks, we'll go in there and it's muddy. We don't wanna track mud out on the highway.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I mean, I don't see any issue at all.
I think everything except number 9, before we do drawings, I feel like we need to, we're gonna have to meet and all of us agree on a plan.
Yeah, well, that's,
Well, I mean, as far as what I'm looking at it, from 1 through 7, we can go on, as far as my part is, we can go on and get rolling with that.
Yeah, we can do it.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah.
and the thing about it is, Roger and I and Dan, like I said the last night, yesterday morning, we'll do this, we'll take this on to do it. You know, we'll keep you informed, everything we do, but just the legwork on it, you know, we can take care of that. And it'll free you up from, because I know you're busy.
Well,
I know you're busy.
well, I mean, and when we do projects like this, I mean, somebody has to take the ball and run.
Yeah.
And we're happy that y'all are doing it.
We're willing to do it.
And, you know, basically right here, we may just go ahead and entertain a motion to proceed with number 1 through,
37.
I mean, number 1 through 6 is a for sure thing. Number 7, I can do.
Okay?
So, I mean, we can, if y'all want to make a motion to go ahead and go do items 1 through 7, that way, because we're going to have to spend money on a little bit of rock, we're going to have to spend money on a surveyor, to get the title search.
Well, I'll go on and make a motion, we let the, Animal Shelter and Pavilion Committee, go on and start working on these lines 1 through 6, and as they need to for monetary gains, come back to fiscal court to be voted on.
Got 1 through 6.
1 through 6, yes.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second. And we'll have some discussion, why don't we just add 7? Because didn't you say you were gonna go and do
I
that?
mean, I could do that.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
You just wanna change your motion to 1 through
Yeah,
7?
1 through 7.
I'll second that.
I didn't know we had to have a motion for that one.
All right.
We need to
You
get
okay,
Lynn.
Lynn?
Are you gonna provide me with a list, because
Yeah.
Yes.
the minutes will not.
Yes, I'll give you mine, you just, we're done with it, you can have it.
Yeah. Oh, all right, Lynn, yeah, sorry about that. We'll try to not run way too fast. But anyway, so the motion by Zach, seconded by Will, that we go ahead and let the committee and myself take care of items 1 through 7 on this list. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, so we're good to go on those items. Jim, if you want to continue on.
Okay, now, you know, we talked a little bit yesterday about, you know, we're talking about the animal show now, the pavilion, these same things occurred at that pavilion too. We gotta do the same things.
It's too bad we didn't make the motion for both.
Well,
You know,
let's
we're
do
gonna
it
get,
separate.
but I'm just saying, you know, we can do the pavilion and the animal shelter simultaneously
Yeah.
with these things. We'll get a surveyor, we can get him to survey both pieces while he's here. Because I guarantee you, those first 7 items, there's 8 weeks right there.
Well, I mean,
I feel like the pavilion and the animal shelter are on 2 different pages.
Yeah, but I know what Jim's trying to stress is, we don't want to do one and then do the other, we're going to do them both at the same time.
well, I understand that, but I think we need to go on and do, before we worry about starting to do the survey and stuff, we need to actually be in the talks with Sweezy
Yeah.
and figuring out
We already.
Yeah, I think that should be one pavilion.
If it's not something that's even attainable, then
Yeah,
well,
let's-
7 don't matter.
Yeah, if y'all are okay, let's stick on the animal shelter right
Okay.
now.
Okay, all right.
If y'all
So we'll get that. So I guess the next thing we need to do is just come to an agreement on what kind of building we want to put there.
Well, at that, when we start with that, I'd like to, if it's okay with you, I'd like to get Nick up there to kind of sit up here and,
tell us what you need.
yeah.
Come on up, Nick.
Have you had a chance to review the drawing yet?
I saw the original that Jim,
I think that's what we have.
if you've got another one, I would love to look at it.
That's right.
I think you should have a look at this.
Here you go.
There's a couple pages.
Look on the basically the third page, I guess it is, third page. Nick came out to the house one day, and we went through it and got his opinion on what we need, so.
You
I
want
think,
water, Jim? I'll get you a
oh,
water.
I'll get it. I'll get one. Anybody else want one?
No, thank you.
I'll take one when I get back there.
Okay.
Well, Nick, you and Jim have kind of already kind of talked a little bit, so go ahead with what you think about it.
Yeah. Basically, I can tell you, the way I look at it, and I think you guys look at it the same, is, you know, we're not just building this for now, we're wanting to do something that's gonna last into the future for a while, regardless if it's me here, regardless if, you know, there's a new director, there's new ACOs. We want something that's, you know, gonna be suitable for the county down the road as well, because we don't wanna spend all this money and everything else. And, you know, basically what me and Jim talked about, it looks like he integrated some of the things, because we needed space for farm animals, because it happens sometimes we get horses and things like that, or we have neglect cases, and, you know, we have to hold those animals, you know, for a allotted period of time. Looks like he established a cat room and a cat quarantine room, which is good, because if we're gonna start, you know, doing intakes on cats, we're gonna have to have that, because they have to have a completely separate enclosure from the dogs, per the KRS. And my biggest thing was, and it's incorporated on here too, was a vet room. I want to be able, I've been in communication with Elk Creek, and, you know, one of the doctors up there that we use, you know, on a regular basis, and I would like if we could try to, you know, incorporate, you know, some classes and things with the high school, that we can have some of the kids to come over, and maybe they can get some of their credits and things like that coming over, because me and Victoria were both certified, so I mean, we can, you know, we can try to teach them what we know, the little bit we do know, you know, we can try to teach them, and I just think it would be a good relationship with the high school as well. I'm okay with the, you know, the amount of kennels that are on there. The more kennels that we have, the better. You know, this is probably suitable for right now, but, you know, we are expanding, and, you know, there's a possibility, just like, you know, later on, I potentially tomorrow, I could go out and get 20 dogs, like in reality, I have a case tomorrow, I gotta go look at something. Potentially, I could be bringing 20 dogs into the shelter tomorrow, and I currently have about 16 usable kennels, so I have to, you know, I have to move around and make things, you know, work. So the more the better, and I think, you know, we do have some kennels currently at the shelter that are, I mean, they're in really good shape, and I think that we could utilize them somewhere else, maybe on the property. I think we could make it work if we did need.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things we talked about too, by putting a storage building, you know, attached to this building, the animal shelter building, if the animal shelter needed storage, all they gotta do is come right through the door into that building, and we could either separate another room off or whatever, or your kennels, bring your kennels and set them up in that building. So that was one of the main reasons that we added this storage, you know, for down the road, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it appears to me that the drawing has everything that we need, and it appears to me it has potential for, you know, for us to be able to expand in the future if we need to. You know, you have that storage area, and if we needed to take another 15 or 20 foot or something down through there, if we had to in the future, it looks like that there's an area that we can do that, and that's, I hope that we never get to the point, you know, I hope that we're able to, you know, take care of the community and we don't have to take in a bunch of dogs, but sometimes it happens, you know, dogs, cats.
What do you think on average, dog-wise, you usually have a week, just if you had to put a rough number on it?
Honestly, it really varies, but I would say on average, probably 8 or 9. But it really varies because when I first came in, you know, those numbers were different, but we formed such good, you know, this off top, but we formed such good reputations with rescues and with people in the community that people want to come and adopt from us. And the rescues want to pull our dogs because we work with them. And, you know, so when I first came in, I mean, we were setting capacity a lot, but since we have that relationship with some of these rescues, as long as they stay open, you know, we can keep the numbers down. That's the biggest thing is, you know, getting them vaccinated, fixed, and moving them out quick as we can. But I would say on average, 8 or 9, but it can be less and it can be more too, depending on the time of year. You know, after Christmas time is a big time because people get dogs and they decide, hey, I don't want this, you know, I don't want my old dog, or they get a Christmas puppy, oh, this thing's wild, and they'll take it and drop it down by the lake. So it's just, it really varies depending on certain times of the year. So.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
I agree. I think that this drawing here has a lot, if not all of the amenities that he would need. I said that to say this, is I would like to see, I think it needs bigger amenities. I could see us, if the county continues to grow, us outgrowing this in 10 years.
Well, I mean, that's what I was gonna suggest to stay on the same topic with you all, is you got the storage building and the animal shelter draw out here. You know, the storage building's at 56 by 48, and then the animal shelter itself's at 44 by 40. If you was just to switch those two buildings, we was to build a 56 by 48, make everything bigger.
Well, that's kind of along the area I was going, I mean, I was just kind of looking, you know, you got 2 6 by 8 areas for, I mean, that's only gonna, what's that, like 1, maybe 2 horses per one, and then.
I figured one for each side.
And that's just like
There's 2 others up front right there. Yeah, I got an extra cage if we need them, you know, 4 horses, so.
Is this storage gonna potentially, is this what's gonna potentially become recycling, or is that gonna be a completely separate entity?
No.
Okay, I was just curious, I didn't know if that was
And
just.
then, the other thing was, is like, this is gonna get bigger, and, there's only one office in there, you know, if we have to hire more people and things, I would just like to see more of what is here. I think we've hit all the things we
Break
need.
room or something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there needs
Well,
to be.
I can make it as big as you want it.
Yeah,
Really.
I mean,
This-
seriously,
this-
look what I was thinking, I mean, me and Zach was kind of, I wanted to take this 48 by 40, but I wanted to take it on in halfway into that 56 building and make it 40 by, 65.
No problem.
Or, you know, that's just kind of what I was thinking. I don't really think that they need that much storage, and we could utilize that space to have more office space, a few more kennels in there, maybe a men and a women's restroom, break room. I would like, I know you got the cages on the front, but, you know, farm animals and kennels don't really work out together, so, you know, this is a big farming community, so I'd like to have a little bit bigger of a farm animal
Okay.
hold, you know, I mean, in all seriousness, wouldn't you agree that you'd probably need the capacity at some point in time to hold 10 head of cattle? Or 10 horses?
I don't think we're gonna see that, really.
I hope not.
I mean, I hope
but
not.
there's there's always the potential or anything. I mean, look at it, last year we took 111 dogs off the property. You know what I'm saying? So potentially it can
Well,
happen.
somebody's water buffalo, it's like get out too.
Yes,
Well,
we
I
don't
don't
want
want to
that.
get in the position where 10 years from now we're going, man, I wish we'd made that thing bigger.
I agree with everything you said,
We will.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because we all know when we build our shops, you can build them as big, your farm shop's as big as you want, you're still gonna fill it up.
I agree with everything you said. I think this whole storage ideal, we need to get rid of, and this needs to be animal shelter. Because if you go and look at our other storage,
So you wanna make the whole 56 feet?
I'm not saying that size.
Oh,
You're
You're
just saying
upscale
you're
it,
a
so
storage idea.
I was thinking about taking half of that
a
storage.
storage is a catch-all.
Yes.
You go over here, There's all kinds of junk
It's just a
piled up
place to
in there.
collect junk.
I like to see the animal shelter nice, neat, uniform.
Yes.
Leave the junk over there for now and think about that later.
I just want them to have enough room where
Well,
the stuff ain't piling up.
Well, I mean, the whole.
And if you need storage for something, this is a very, very easy building.
Well, my kind of thinking on it, which I like Jim's plan there, I'm kind of on the same page, you know, I don't see the need of adding, building a new storage building. We get them out of the recycling center, we have that whole big building, which you've talked about tearing down, I understand that, but it's split up so bad, if it cut up in there, you open all that up, move the recycling center over to where the animal shelter is, give them that whole big building, that's gonna be phenomenal for the recycling center. Take away their problems, we make the old recycling center the new storage area for now.
We can clean it up, pretty it up.
Yeah, we put a big privacy fence around it or something.
Well, I mean, we can pretty up, if we want to pretty up the front, you know, what is the assisted living center or whatever else, you know, we could pretty up the front and then all the recycling would be over there. It's kind of hidden by the.
You can make it all,
liquor store
put
and stuff.
it all in behind, like where the recycling center's in the backside of that gravel area. Instead of them doing their work out front there toward the beehive, they could come in that backside.
I agree.
You know, it'd all be hid up that way.
But Jim, I really like the plan. I
Yeah,
think you
I
have
like that
everything
plan,
here,
yeah.
I just want more of it.
All right, what about, let me offer this then. What about if we take, that storage building is 56 feet. What about if we cut that in half
And add it on to that.
and just, and leave an animal shelter? And see, it's offset, and I've got it offset for a reason, and that's because the aesthetics of it, when you look at it. You know, it's gonna look better when this building is separate from this building. But keep it the same, and, because the sidewalls on the back building is 16 feet, and the shelter is 10 feet. So, you know, you've got a drop-down roof, and a whole different look. That's what I was trying to get at. But we can take half of that storage and go back, move everything right back into it, and put, like you said.
I was thinking about making the whole thing 40 by 76, cut that storage in half and then add that into the, you know, and then you could still have a spot over in the corner that's 15 by 15 storage room.
Oh, there's gonna be.
Well, I like Jim's got it cut up like this for looks, which I think, I like that.
Yeah.
And it's not like it costs you that much more money.
It's not, it doesn't look like,
A square,
animal shelter does now. You know,
Yeah, I get it.
And when people come in, of course, you know, this is the front, and when people come in the driveway, you know, and this would all be paid parking lot around, at least around this building. You know, when people come in, bam, there it is.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's, yeah.
And if y'all look at this, and I know this is pole buildings that you just said, and I don't work for Hopkinsville or Legacy Metals at all. Full disclosure, I don't work for them, I don't get a cut or nothing, but I have used them before.
You're not a paid spokesperson?
No, not a paid spokesperson, but I have used them before, and they do build a nice building. Their buildings are already engineer stamped, what they build, and I just want to present this just kind of as a basic guideline, for example. So imagine this building in the bottom here, on the bottom left corner, and so if you were to build a 40 by 60, 14 feet tall, you know, it doesn't include concrete, but it includes everything you see there, and it tells you insulated garage doors. And it's not necessarily that you have to put the garage doors on this front of the gable. You could put them somewhere else. But you can see, just as a starting point, this basic shell of a building, and that's built, is $35,184. So again, this is the bottom starting point, and we can pretty up the front. You can brick it part of the way, you know, ever how you want to make it look. You can put a gable porch on the front with 2 columns. You can pretty it up ever how you want. But, you know, I would like us, since we got so much we want to do, you know, yeah, I want to build a beautiful animal shelter, but if we build a $500,000 animal shelter, it's probably going to hustle us to build what we want to build at the other place.
Well, and the thing is, it's gonna cost a lot of money to get this thing, all the stuff that needs on the inside.
The inside will be 3 times.
Because the last thing I wanna do is build a $300,000 building and pack it full of old crap.
Well, you know,
You know, but it's great.
the kennel itself on my drawing there, where you see the dark, that's all concrete block. The four outside walls are 10 foot tall.
Okay.
And then concrete block with tissue on the inside. And that's for, we can paint that all inside up really nice. It's for cleanliness. You
Yeah.
can take a whole
You can wash it
it down, every bit of it. And, you're not gonna get any water, no water in the sitting area, visiting areas, offices, or anything like that.
It'll all be contained in there.
It'll all, the kennels are contained by concrete walls, and that was my purpose of it.
Well, I mean, I like, Scott, when you start there, you don't wanna make just brick it 4 feet up all the way around and then make the front of it look real pretty. You know, but that's a starting point.
But basically, what I've got here, it's just a truss roof, you know, the 48 foot from back to front. The front section's got flat trusses on the, you know, the front area, and then the kennel area's got scissor trusses on it, just to give it some height, and where we can run our vent pipe, you know, from front to back for heating and air. And then the washrooms they'll all have metal ceilings and metal walls for the same thing for, you know, wash-offs and things like that. The bathroom would be drywall with a drop ceiling. The business center up front, the cat room could be drywall with a drop ceiling, you know. So it's pretty simple, you know,
No,
as far as structure goes.
Like I said, I like your design, I just want more of it.
But we, you know, if we can take, and Scott, I understand exactly what you're saying, but, you know, if we could take this, you know, just half of that storage and make all this together, you know, just like it is.
That makes it 40 by 76.
Yeah.
What I can, of course, I don't know how that works out with building materials and stuff, I don't know what exact length that you need.
Well, we could make it where it works out 8 foot centers.
Right, whatever that works out to be.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, I'd still just, you know, I'd like to have another office, break room, and probably 50% more kennels.
Yeah, we can do that. And then the building itself, the way I envision it is put it as close to the property line going down the back of the dollar store, come out far enough to put a driveway down through there, and then put it as close there as we can, and all the way back towards the Shears Creek, to the back. That way we've got open
Parking
area
out front.
out front, and then we could always expand out front if we wanted to for kennels or whatever. And that way there's no wasted space. Have enough driveway to come down the side between the dollar store and this, and then across the back with a pretty good sized driveway, gravel driveway, getting over to.
And whatever construction style we use, I think, like Will was saying, well, on that back end, we ought to make it to where it's easy to tag on to if we want to add on to, you know, I mean, I would put in.
Well, that's the whole idea behind a pole barn, you know, going with the basic shell of it.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
You know, it's easy to tie on to, it's easy to do. I mean, I live in a pole barn, I built one, I live in it, and it's, they're so, yeah, I mean, they're just so easy to you can do whatever. You get the shell up, you can do whatever you want to on the inside of it.
So maybe just make a pretty pole barn.
Pretty pole barn.
A pretty pole barn.
We don't have to put overhang on it, you know, we can just put.
No chandeliers in the foyer or
But,
nothing.
you know, on the,
Well, I mean, with what this, you know, just going by this quote, you know, with an overhang, but you don't know what size overhang, but you know.
well, on
Only
the,
cost an overhang and some softening.
yeah, and I've got overhang on the kennel, you know, the building itself, but the pole barn part, no, I did not, so.
Then you won't make it a little longer. I mean, it's still, you're still looking at what, 50, 60,000?
More than that.
More than
By the time
that.
you add the concrete.
Yeah, the concrete.
Well, I'm just talking about for shell price.
More than that still.
I call Randy Brown, he builds pole barns over in Shelby County, 40 years. And I called him and picked his brain. He said, right now I'm charging $32 a foot for a building with 16-foot sidewalls and 2 overhead garage doors.
How much a square foot?
32. That's not concrete, no electric. But that does include two garage doors and a man door for $32 a foot. He said your concrete's gonna be about $12 a foot, and you buy it and pour it, and then whatever electric you got in it. So he says by the time you do electric, concrete, and the building itself, you're up to $50 a foot. He said that's probably what you're gonna spend.
You got a lot of money for them.
For a pole barn.
Concrete walls, concrete blocks.
$50 a square, that's $152,000. If you do the 40 by 76 times $50 a square foot, that's a rough figure, man.
And then you still got an insulated wire on it.
Well, the shell is the cheap part.
The cheapest part.
Well, I mean, the building itself, I don't know if you have
Then you
to
got,
do all
you got
that,
by the kennels and
you know.
all the
But,
other kind of stuff.
But the front part of it would be, it would be like, it'd be like this room, you know, I mean, it's a finished product, you know, heat and air.
We could honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to cut corners or anything, but the kennels we have over there right now, the slam gates that we use, they're in really good shape. I mean, they're not, and they could be incorporated, and that's gonna save quite a bit of money. They're expensive, you know, they're basically like the top of the line ones you can go down to Tractor Supply or whatever and get, but they're in good shape, we take care of them, you know, we clean them. I mean, they could, some of them could use a little bit of paint, but we could utilize them for.
You could put those in the building, the storage
I
building.
mean,
and
we
use
could
it.
reutilize a lot of the stuff that's there, because there's nothing wrong with it. I don't wanna go and buy, you know, brand new stuff and we don't, you know,
No,
we
we
don't need it. I mean, there's no reason to spend that kind of money. Cause the dog, you know, a dog, stray dog comes in, it's not gonna, oh man, you know, this isn't a brand new door, you know? It's like, as long as it contains them and it's safe, I think we should utilize everything we can from the old shelter. I think that's, you know,
Well, let
that's
me ask you this then, where I've got the concrete partition block kennels on the inside, can we eliminate that and just put the kennels you've got on the inside down through there?
The only problem with that we're gonna run into, and what they did before, so Dave Wood, they apparently put in, they just took sheet metal and they ran it up to the side to create petitions, is what they've got now.
Yeah.
You know, typically, I've been to a lot of shelters, you know, I've been to a lot, and not just to view them, but to help out and everything else, and a lot of them, you know, that they utilize that concrete because it is, you know, it basically creates a disease-free environment. So, you know, you still have to have a quarantine room, but you could put, you know, as long as your troughs were right and everything else, if you had a couple dogs that, you know, had worms or something like that that you were trying to treat, with these concrete petitions, they potentially could be right beside another dog if they're not going to be exposed, you know, to that other dog. But if you go and you put the other stuff, then we're gonna have to have more quarantine rooms, you know, more quarantine kennels, because it's all gonna rush underneath, because they're just, all I have right now are just, you know, they're just gate panels, and then there's metal on them. And all the metal is doing is it's preventing the dogs from getting each other through.
See each other.
Yeah, that's all it's
What is
doing.
it, galvanized and it's rust?
It's just roofing metal,
Yeah, it's just regular painted roofing metal.
36-inch metal. Yeah.
I like the block.
Is it, I mean, do the dogs scratch it up and you gotta paint it every year or two, or?
We, for the most part, it's kind of in between two panels, so they don't really, it is hard to get to and clean, because we really end up just having to spray it down and trying to keep it as clean, but
I'll say this, I like the concrete block idea myself too, and the only reason I say that is it's a kind of one-time deal, you paint it once, you're not replacing kennels, you're not replacing metal, you're not, you put a little paint
Nothing
every
rusty.
few years, yes.
Don't get a dent in it.
Go in and paint it.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you wanted to
Just
put
be able
it,
to clean.
yeah.
so you don't have to. I've seen a lot of shelters that don't, you don't have to paint
I
it.
think concrete's easy to clean.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking you put a water sealer or something like, you don't just spray it off.
Put a good, couple coats of good concrete paint on there,
Yeah,
with
something.
gloss, where you can, you know.
I've seen it either way. I've
Yeah, I
seen
mean,
it,
don't-
and
I
it
mean,
seems to
it's
serve the same purpose either way, so.
We can see what's wrong. Whether or not we paint the block or not, it's.
Yeah, that ain't the problem, that ain't the problem.
Oh, yeah, that's way down the road.
But I think I like the idea of keeping the block
I do
fishing,
too.
yeah, so. I'm in favor of that.
I've had a lot of dogs, but this no poop doesn't stick as well to slippery surfaces than porous surfaces, so.
Yeah.
Trust me, I live it every day, so.
So I guess tonight what we really need to do is, you know, I'll draw it back up and bring it back, you know, so, you know, you tell me what you want, and I'll draw it up that way, and we'll go from there.
Well, I think we all like the 40 by 76 idea.
I like the bigger idea.
Bigger kennel, I like the bigger
I
kennel.
like the bigger kennel, I like the bigger.
I want a bigger kennel and we cut the storage off, it's not.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying, I'm not talking about keeping the storage, I'm just talking about taking half that storage and making it part of the building.
Yeah.
Making it part of the animals.
Like I said, we're gonna, my thing is once this is building up,
So you're going
potentially, we're gonna have a
total
whole building.
76,
We don't need
so about
storage
22
facility.
more foot.
And you know,
28, yeah. Where's my
You know,
math?
if
48,
we,
40,
if we keep half the storage,
four
you know, we can
children.
cut the sidewalls down to 12 feet.
Mhm.
You know, we don't need 16 feet. I was doing it for
That was gonna
storage.
be my next thing, why we need a 16 foot.
Well, that was for storage, for cars and, you know, whatever. But we can cut down to 12-foot sidewalls.
And then you put a 10-foot overhead door in it and roll on.
I cut down 12-foot sidewalls all the way through it. So,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
What is the ease height on your office and kennel part?
They're all
10 foot.
I think it's
10
all gonna be the
foot,
same.
so you're gonna do 10 foot and then still step it to 12 to just add a little character.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, all the visiting area, you get 10-foot walls on all of it, and then you just put a drop ceiling at 9-foot level. You know, I wouldn't take it 8 foot.
I think we should drop it, and you're talking about you just buy one extra gable truss when you step up.
Mhm.
Doesn't cost that much, a little bit of trim work,
Mhm.
looks better.
I think it's a good investment having a little steeper pitch versus a flatter pitch.
Yes.
What are you thinking, like
This
612?
is 512, way out there. 612 probably would be the most I'd want to put on it, you know.
I think, I mean, most all our buildings around that around here are 412s.
I think
Yeah,
the
I don't
animal
think
shelter
it's
now,
much.
I looked at it, I think it's a 612.
I got
Or
a 612 on
512,
my
that's what I
house.
meant.
I like it pretty well.
Mhm.
I got 612 on my house. I
I
like
ever
it.
got up on the roof.
No, I hire somebody to do that.
My house is like that too, you got rope
No,
around
Maybe you
it.
gotta go barefooted. You think you do it barefooted?
I don't know, I ain't been looking at it.
My house, it's rope only, it may be steeper than 612.
My house, fortunately, needs new enough, I ain't gonna get up there and look at it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I still
so
like it.
if we make this complete structure 72 feet long, okay, that's half of what we got now in the storage.
76.
Well, he's figuring on 8 foot centers. You
Oh,
gotta
okay,
figure out-
okay. All right.
72 feet, and that way everything breaks right, and we can expand the kennel back into there and utilize all of it for a kennel.
You gonna stick with the 40 by 72?
Well, it'll be, I would keep the front part of it the way it is, 44 by 48. Just,
Oh, the
just
44?
Well, now you need to stay standard,
Or
because
40.
building materials is cheaper.
40 by 48, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's 40 foot wide, 48 foot
You
long.
say your width. when you
So
go from 40
keep
to
it that way, and then the storage area, keep it at 40, 48 feet wide, you know.
It's all 48 feet wide, ain't it?
No,
No.
it's the
No,
front part's 40.
the front's like a,
It gives it a 4
Step
foot,
down.
it gives it a 4 foot offset there where the farm animal thing is, a corner.
Okay, got
You
you.
see, for, that way, you know, it just gives it a better look, in my opinion.
Okay.
I agree with what you're saying, and I just like to discuss, I think we're all in agreement to cut the excess storage off of
I'm just
John Way.
thinking maybe in the back corner, you put just like a
Well, I mean, it's,
10 by 15
if
storage.
we make it as big as we're gonna make it with this, adding on there, right now, anyway, he's gonna have storage. I mean,
Right, exactly, yeah, so
are you
I'm,
wanting the storage for like the corners, man, and stuff like that? Is that what you're is that what kind of
The
what you're
corners
looking
van,
for?
or, you know, the parts trucks that sit outside at night when they go home, or whatever.
Yeah, but like
Well, I
I
think
said,
you figure this new size, right now, I mean, you said this kennel is adequate for right now, on your normal day.
On my normal, I mean, it would.
And not even think about, leave this back part,
Scrap it for now. Scrap the storage for now. Is that what you?
well, just don't build this in the animal shelter yet,
Yeah.
we
leave
need
it
to leave it
open,
open, yeah.
but, plan this out where it works out to add on later. I just figured,
I
I
don't
think,
want to leave it open because it'll get just trashed up.
Yeah, I don't even want, I
won't let
personally,
it get trapped.
No, I mean, just, no, but the
Seriously, I
thing is,
won't let
everybody
it
bringing
get
stuff in and
trashed.
out of there, and next thing you know, recycle center needs something they need to store over
I
there.
personally don't even want to build a storage area now, but I want us to build a building that's big enough for the animal shelter.
that's what I'm saying, we won't even call this storage, this is gonna be Nick's office, great big old office back here. You don't let nobody in there.
I was gonna say,
Well, I
nobody
mean,
is,
that's kind of what the whole thing is, we don't have to,
Well, I don't think we need to build 15 more kennels right now.
no, that's what I'm saying, we don't have to do that, no. We
Yeah,
don't have to
the
do
building
that.
is there.
But I just won't have to run two for these two,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to use it to turn into a junk hole in the bin.
Yes,
See, that's what,
I don't want nothing in this, my opinion, I don't want nothing in any of the drawings that we see say storage on it, so I don't want storage over there.
Okay, if we do it this way, then,
Right.
then there's no storage involved. This is all the kennel.
Yes,
If it's storage, it'll be storage for you.
yes.
If he wants to put some trash back there or whatever.
So I think you figure out how you make this work, just where you can easily add more kennels to your plan, but we don't do them right.
Yes.
Right now.
Right now, but the whole thing,
Yeah.
It would be, Mayfield, when I went down there and helped them after the tornadoes, they had, their setup, I mean, I guess you could say it was similar, I mean, it's not the same, but it's similar in ways. But they had an expansion that they had to do, and believe it or not, they had a hallway just like this, and you walk through, and then through that little hallway, there was just another set of kennels, right back in there, they had just built.
Yeah, and that's what-
They just concrete, and they just had a whole nother section, they built, I forget how many it was now, but I guess 20 more kennels because they had to expand, and that's how they, and when I asked them, because I always ask questions about the shelter, well, how do you do this, how do you do that? And they had an expansion on there because they had an influx of animals and they had to have more space. So they took and they just took a section, they had a storage area, and they got rid of it, and they built their kennels in there, and
which is something that
it was good to go.
we could have a scenario just like that with a tornado anytime, you know?
Oh, yeah, so.
You know,
You know, and I'm sorry I'm bringing this picture back up, but I just think it's good for ideas. This building in the middle, the red one, has that lean-to shed on the side. Yeah, you know, the roof's too flat and all that, but, you know, we could construct a basic building, whatever size we decide on, 40 by 60, 40 by 70, whatever, 10 feet high. And then on the one side or the back or something, you could easily go ahead and construct a lean-to shed with more pitch on the slope on the roof. And then this would be where if you had cattle, we could set up gates.
Yep.
And put the cattle in there. If you needed to add more dog kennels, after, say you went and got 100 dogs in one place, we could quickly put something together to house them, but you'd have a roof over it.
Exactly.
And, you know, if you put it on that side of the building, put it on the east side of the building, normally your weather's coming from the west, you know, they would have some natural protection. And then if you ever wanted to box it in and close it and include it into the building, you already got the roof.
it's just bare
Well, you're
bones.
stuck on this picture. I think once Jim gets his drawing,
Yeah.
you know, about what it needs, it's not to say that we can't hire a company
Well, I think,
Yeah.
to say this is what we want.
Yeah.
You put us a price together, then, you know, we can bid it out.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely have to bid it out.
Correct,
for
yeah,
sure.
we need to for sure bid it out.
I mean, you can just see this and call Randy Brown and all the other guys that build pole barns and say you want this dimensions. And, I mean, at the end of the day, this is pretty much what
Well,
we're doing.
basically, Scott, what you're saying about that building, this is the same, it'd be the same, it's just a pole barn on the back side of it, you know,
Yeah.
we could put a lean-to on that, any.
Right.
We don't price having these block walls, or then we could just price doing like a posted beam or a stick belt. I don't see no difference.
Well, here's what I think we need to do. We need to put some goals as far as what we're gonna get done when. You know, I always use Christmas. We gonna have this thing ready for dogs by Christmas? Probably not.
No.
Okay.
No way.
Are we gonna have a building, whether it looks like this one? I mean, I like Jim's drawing here. It looks like whatever we have, you know, let's have a goal of having an enclosed building and the gravel on the outside, maybe already blacktopped. And then we're working on the inside this fall and this winter. A year from now,
Yep.
we have a grand opening of our new animal shelter.
Yep.
So the steps we go through is, you know, tonight we should decide on a
Building
maximum
size.
size
And a timeline.
and a timeline of how to get, you know, we gotta get our box built. And, you know, I'm not talking about we gotta decide what color it is, if we're gonna put brick. We don't have to decide that tonight, but let's decide on a dimension that's big enough. And the farm show's next week. I'm aiming to go to the farm show. Y'all are probably all going. They got all those buildings, Morton, Walters. There's 100 building companies down there.
Lots of brochures.
Brochures.
Well, I think we're pretty much,
Is everybody good with the 40 by 76 and then the back part be 48 by 76?
that's what I was about to say. I think we're all pretty close to the same. I like that.
Overall length 76, it goes
72.
72, it goes, but the first part's 48. 40 foot wide, the back part's 48 feet wide, everybody cool with that?
Yeah, I'm saying just take this building we got in the back here, and just cut it in half,
Yeah,
okay?
Add it on the back.
And keep it just like that, and then we can do whatever we want to back here.
I do have a question on this, on the front side with the we added to here. You keep saying that the back side of the pole barn, so what are you saying, are you wanting to stick build this front side? Is that what you're talking about you want to do?
Yeah,
Front end?
yeah, yeah.
Stick build it?
Yeah, the front part right there. See, these will be all concrete block walls 10 feet tall, and the trusses are set on those going across here. Here, this front part will be stick built, and this back part will, right here where the bedroom
So
will be
it's a
stick
block
built.
building, we're building a big block building.
No, you're only building where the kennels are. You're gonna have stick built out front and stick built here.
See, I think on that, we can make this whole thing into a pole barn built, and then on the inside, to keep our block kennels and stuff, we can always go in there and place block.
I think the front half of the building needs to just be metal.
How tall is the inside of a kennel? I mean, how tall is the dog pen have to be? It's got a top on it, right?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
how tall is the dog pen?
what we have right now is just a little over 5 foot.
Okay. So I mean, the walls if we block the walls, they only need to be 5 foot, and you put a top on it.
Well, I got 6 inches, 6 foot 4 inches, that's where, and I'm using 4-inch concrete block on the partition inside, just to keep space down.
With concrete, if you have a 6 foot or whatever concrete block wall, you don't even have to have it. A lot of the shelters don't even have a top on it because a dog physically cannot get out of that.
No,
It
there's no
doesn't matter.
top, so none of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you don't have to put a top on.
Well,
it.
My German.
So what you're saying is just make it, so you're just saying just make it pole barn all the way, and then we'll just block up what we need on the inside?
That's what I'm thinking.
I think so, I think that's gonna save you a lot of money, but at the end of the day, that still ain't something we have to decide today.
No.
Because we're deciding on the shape.
I like the shape and the sides that you've got laid out here. I like how it sits back, I like how it's gonna look.
I think it just should all be posted beam, or if you pour a slab and stick frame it, it's about the same.
Yeah.
Whether you got posts in the ground or you're framing on top of
You know, and
concrete.
you wanna use metal studs instead of wood studs, just because of the moisture thing about it.
I mean,
It's gonna be a lot more expensive.
Well,
Well,
there's
I
not a
don't
whole,
know.
there's not a whole lot of walls to it.
It won't be, you wouldn't add that much, you know.
You've got 40, 80, you've got 80-foot walls, plus, you got probably 120 feet of wall that you have to frame up. Total.
I don't have an opinion on that.
But I mean, you know, we could frame those wood and drywall certain parts of it, you know, the bathrooms, and, you know, and the front room and all that stuff, but.
Y'all wanna decide, cause, you know, I know we can stay here all night and I don't want us to. Y'all wanna try to decide on size, or you all want to,
I think we got the size figured out.
Yeah, I like
We're gonna do that 40 by 72 and the back part 48,
but,
By the remainder,
24 or 28, whatever it is.
26, yeah.
26, yeah.
And I say 12-foot eaves, other than 16-foot. I don't see a
I
need
agree.
for us to have 16-foot.
I'd make a 12-foot eve all the way through it to keep the eave on.
I'll do 10-foot
Or
as
do y'all want that step?
well, you could
Yeah,
put step in, make it more cosmetically appealing.
I
How
think
much
the
money
step
you
down
have for that?
definitely- The step down is definitely.
You buy an extra gable truss
It
and
ain't gonna cost much on 2 foot, no.
Okay,
I like the 10 and 12 if it's not too.
so we'll do a pole barn for the whole thing, and then we can concrete block the inside however we want to do it.
Yeah.
Essentially, we're doing a pole barn, but at the end of the day, I don't wanna look like
Well, I like-
Bob's Dairy Farm either.
No,
we would
I
do like
like,
a nice wainscot or something around it still.
yeah.
You know,
I just like the idea of the whole pole barn deal because
No, I'm with you.
between us getting this figured up and getting an enclosed structure, by the time we start working on the inside, we can change the inside 40,000 different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the building can work the same way.
Yeah, no, I like the pole barn idea, but I think there's
That's-
little things that we can do as we go along that'll
I
make it
know.
more curb, you gotta have more curb.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then, say we do a pole barn where the kennels are now, okay? So there'll be a wall where the concrete block is now, so we gotta have doors going through that metal to the outside kennel, to the inside kennel, so how are we gonna, we're gonna leave that metal on the inside and metal on the outside, or?
Just cut it and put some J-tin on, build a door.
Mhm.
I mean, I've imagined building some sort of sliding door here where you can leave them down on.
Typically, that's what you do. You
Yeah.
have something, you'll have a slide and some kind
Yeah,
of
you know,
contraption
you'll
that
frame
you
that.
grab, and
Yeah.
you can let them out.
From
let 'em
outside
go.
the cage, a pulley system.
Yes, exactly. Let them out, they'll drop back
Yeah.
down, and then
You know, you just have to have that framed in, and you'll have some sort of rollers that bolt to your studs.
And then on my drawing there on the first page, I do have windows across the top, above the outside kennels and the inside for natural light and ventilation. There'd be like a jalousie window, maybe 16, 18 inches tall by 3 foot that you can crack open or whatever.
I'd like to keep that, if
I like the
nobody's
windows.
opposed to
I
that.
think we need that,
Yeah, I think, I'd like to keep that, if we could.
ventilation's key. I mean, it really is, trust me.
Probably need to think about some sort of exhaust fans in this thing,
Yeah, well, that's all, yeah.
but like.
And I'm sure it's gonna have a bunch of floor drains and everything else in it too. where you
Well,
get-
it's
He's got trough
The
drains.
only,
Yeah,
the only
there's a
drain I
trough.
put in was the 2 troughs in the kennels where you can just wash it right out and go right into the sewer.
Right,
Yeah, this will all be on the slope to the center.
yeah.
Well,
All right, sounds good.
what do y'all want to decide on the side tonight, or y'all want
I think
to?
we've already decided on the
Yeah.
size.
Yeah. Yeah,
72 by,
Do we-
72
we-
by,
40 and 48.
yeah. Do it just like this, except, we got 23 feet of that storage.
and then we're gonna do the 10-foot eaves and the 12-foot eaves.
Well, let 10 and 12.
Let's get a size, Lynn, we might be fixing to vote. Sorry to interrupt you. Let's get a size figured out, what we want, y'all try to get it in a motion of a size, and then we'll direct the committee to, get us quotes.
Jim, you wanna put it in a motion?
And again, this is just the shell, the outside shell, and we'll decide on the cosmetics. But let's get a dimension, and then we'll let Jim and them start getting quotes on somebody building this size. So what's your size?
You ready to make it?
Well, do we really need a motion on the exact size of it tonight? Because we're gonna come back with another meeting.
No, we don't have to.
And, because there'll probably be some other changes.
Never mind, Lynn. Never mind.
No, I'm not trying to say.
No, yeah, essentially, I guess we don't have to, I mean.
Well, I was gonna say if we put
I
it
don't
in
think
the
we need a
motion,
motion.
I thought we needed to put it in the motion and vote on it to let you quotes. I thought it needed to be voted on that.
I mean, I don't guess so, I mean, as long as we have a general
We're
consensus.
we're a long way to get quotes, I can tell you that. This is just the preliminary, it's those 6 items.
I think once your plans are there, you're ready to start getting quotes.
Well, we could.
He's saying if we're gonna get quotes, probably ought to get it in the motion.
I think if you're gonna get quotes, go ahead and put it in the motion on the
All right.
side.
I would like us to go ahead and get a size,
Yes.
and so he'll have a number to go get quotes on of just building us a pole building with posts.
Basically, it's something that we got the
6
size set in stone, that's what we're going with.
6 by 6 posts set in the ground, the shell of the building,
To whatever dimensions Jim said. that we
whatever
agree.
dimensions y'all choose to
Okay,
do.
all right.
And you can do a motion
Who's
to
got a
move it to
calculator
the
on?
committee, if you want.
Y'all
You
wanna
wanna
do that?
You wanna do it in square footage?
Hold on, Jim, she gave us a heck of an idea.
Okay.
Oh, I just,
We can move to give it to the committee to use this dimension to get quotes.
I thought that's what we was doing.
Well, like she just said.
Because we was gonna vote on
We
a dimension, and the committee was
Well,
gonna say.
we could just refer it to the committee to get quotes, you just need a motion that says that.
Well, I don't care, just whatever gets it going.
All right, let's say 28 by 48, what's that? How many square feet?
Let me get my calculator here.
That would be the storage.
28 by 48,
28 by 48.
that's 1,344 square feet.
Okay, and then there's 1920 already right there, so I think if we just get a total square footage on it, 12, that's what,
1920 plus 1,344,
yeah,
that's 3,264.
okay, so the entire building would be 3,264 square feet.
Yeah.
We'll make a motion on
And I
the
think
square footage.
we wanna make sure that we have
Yeah,
the
just do it on
appropriate.
square footage, that way we can
Do a maximum.
change, on it as long as we. All right, I'll make a motion that we build this building 3,264 square feet,
Or less. No more than.
no more than 30, well, I don't know.
That's all right.
We
For now.
might not wanna do that.
Jim, we'll add on to it later.
Okay,
That's fine.
no more than 3,264 square feet.
Second.
And that you're referring it to the committee.
And we're gonna turn it over to the, three-person committee.
Yeah, to bring us quotes.
Yeah.
All right, you got that, Lynn?
I do.
Okay, good. Have a motion by Jim, seconded by Zach, that we make it that size, that he said, and refer it to the committee to get us quotes, to bring back at a later date.
Well, I think you're right.
No, that's not
No,
me.
that's mine, I'm sorry to turn it off.
Just put it in the
I'll
pocket.
pay $50.
Let's vote.
Yeah, is there discussion?
Now, this doesn't do anything as far as negating how we said we want to go 10 to 12.
No, it's just a
Okay.
square foot.
All right, and then I'm good.
I will redo the drawings and bring it back,
Cool.
Well, hang on, we got a vote, but I can't find my daggone telephone.
and then,
I gotta go get mine, that was very, very, very.
and then whatever changes, we can make whatever changes again,
You know, phone?
as long as we don't change the square footage of it, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
I just didn't want to make ourselves in a box at all, so.
any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, so that'll conclude the.
Whatever you call it. Will wants a 2-minute recess.
There you go, thanks, Mike.
I got you.
There will be nothing, that Ferris was not here.
Okay, we will do that as soon as they,
Yeah.
Jim will go home and recess and check.
Back on into concrete, electrical and plumbing.
we're gonna look.
I think so, yes. Y'all go ahead and get us quotes for all that.
Yeah.
That way we can get the ball rolling. If y'all are good with it.
Judge, we need to do a roll call when we get rid of.
Thank you, guys.
Just
Thanks,
like
Nick.
minutes will reflect it.
Oh, we need to do a roll call when we first.
Right.
We didn't do it when we started. Come on, man.
We
That's
didn't take a roll, I'm
That's not
sorry.
my job, I don't chair the meeting.
You're usually the one though that gets it going.
She's right. I didn't do a roll call.
You
I
did.
apologize for
Oh,
that.
where's your sense of humor?
Well, we can, yeah, when he comes back, we'll discuss it. We'll
It
get it
just
lined
doesn't
out.
show that Squire Ferris wasn't here. He didn't do it.
Well, I mean, I know I did mention that he was on call,
You did.
so,
But
that
that,
he left.
We'll just do an official roll call.
Yeah, and then that way every motion will reflect that it's unanimous except for Dan Ferris that wasn't present.
Well, I'll come up with a name for this.
Billy?
This is what we're getting ready to talk about.
Oh,
Just call it like the Fiscal Community Center or something.
Those
For
That's the
now.
one thing I'd say.
Well, I know what you're saying, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into one type of event, but we need to come up with something, whether it be the Spencer County, Community Center Amphitheater, whatever you call it, whatever. Pavilion.
Pavilion.
I like it.
We could, yeah.
That way we all ain't going, well, whatever this building is, we'll talk about it now.
I'd like us to have an office in it for, we get a tourism,
Yeah.
economic development person.
That's what I say, I'd like to have an office in the breaker, even,
We never can tell what it might turn into, or we might have to use it for. Chewy.
And I kinda like the idea of leaving an overhead door in one side of it too, that back end too.
Or on the back, very back.
Yeah.
The pavilion or the animal shelter.
Animal shelter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And like you said with that pole barn construction, it don't take nothing to put an overhang on the back of it if you want to,
Right, you can add to it easy. These buildings, Jim, these buildings, I built,
Not a paid spokesperson.
not a paid spokesperson, I built this building on the top right. See that top right? I built a 40 by 84 by 14, I don't know, 4 years ago, over off of Love Lane. 3 guys come out of Tennessee, they had it built and was gone in 3 days. That building went from flat ground at lunchtime on first day, flat ground at lunchtime. The third day, of course, they was shining lights, putting the last screws in. They built it in 3 days.
Imagine what they could do if they had 4 guys.
So,
That's how they build it cheaper, you know.
Right.
Those times.
And these fellas, they come out of Tennessee, and we're all here now. They come out of Tennessee and spend the night in Shelby County.
Everything all right?
Yeah,
Okay.
No baby yet?
no,
Okay.
I just like to have it on me, because I had one phone, but she ain't got that phone number. So,
All right, so anyway, we'll go ahead and come back after our short recess. And we do need to make, if we can make a correction by general consent, that we need to add, actually, we need to take roll. So the minutes officially reflect, Dan's not here. So Madam Secretary, if you would call a roll, please.
Squire Stump,
Here.
Squire Ferris is absent, Squire Eldridge,
here,
Judge Travis.
Here.
Squire Travis.
Here.
Squire Cotton.
Here.
Okay, thank you, and again, I apologize for that. And that way that the first two motions that we made will reflect that Dan is absent. So we're good to go again. Next item on our agenda, I guess in no particular order, but another item is that we talk about the pavilion. So Jim, I'll turn it over to you
Okay.
again.
Yeah, if you look through your pages there, you'll see decisions to be made concerning the pavilion. Same thing, almost identical to the animal shelter.
I got so many papers.
Where are we gonna build it? How much land do we need? I guess that's one of the big things we need to talk about. How much do we need? What's it gonna cost us? Same thing, title search, land survey. We have to have at least 2 appraisals on it to make sure, because all we can pay is fair market value. So, and again, the committee can do these things for this building too, at the same time, Once Wayne Sweezy, decides on how much it's gonna, cost us for the land, then we decide how much we're gonna buy.
Yeah, I think we all are pretty much in an agreement where we like to put it at.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much a no-brainer.
so,
I think
again,
what
like
we
I
need
say,
to negotiate tonight is probably how many acres we're looking to buy. We're looking to buy 1, 2, 3, what we're looking at doing.
Off the top of my head, I was, when I was thinking, but I was thinking 5.
I'm kind of in the same
Well,
thing there.
I had-
After parking and stuff like that, it's just,
I had 3 on my drawings, and I think it'd work out fine, but 5 would be even better. I'll go for 5,
I'm kind of in agreement with that. too.
Because, like I say, if we got room to build something else, which we would.
right.
And I like the idea of trying to get anything, that we got spent some time in the country market, that whole side.
Wayne Sweezy told us the other day, he said it would just be a carbon copy print of what Country Mark is, boom, footage and everything,
Is that how many acres they got there?
Well,
5.5, I
yeah,
believe.
they may have 5.5, but anyhow, I have a good feeling that Wayne will be, coming to us. Of course, when we discuss price, we'll need to be in executive session to discuss the price. But anyhow, I do know that, he has property for sale, and he's willing to, I'm pretty sure he's willing to offer us property. So that'll be forthcoming. And we'll have to discuss that down the road.
That one sheet that's got that's a 5.
well, I think that's the most important part, when we keep talking about it's gonna be forthcoming, but when, because
Soon.
Would I be, getting cart ahead of the horse or anything if we just said that we make the same motion on the 7 things contingent on acquisition of the property?
Yeah.
And then we can move on to discuss the actual plans of it?
Well, I mean,
we don't need a survey. 'cause
we don't need a survey, we don't need appraisals.
Or just whatever he
You
needs
got
to do.
this new sheet that says pavilion?
Well,
I don't know if I got the new one.
Well, it's not new, and it says decisions to be made soon concerning pavilion.
I think if you want to make any kind of motion, it maybe would be 1 through 3.
Well, whatever y'all
Well,
decide.
1 and 2, really, at this
It's
point.
staple to your animal shelter.
well,
Oh, never mind.
That's something we can do, we can discuss
I
here
like
tonight.
it, like,
Yeah,
Oh, here it is.
it's
It's
kind
in the
of,
same package.
kind of 1 through 6 again, all that has to take place.
Well, but we don't really need to get appraisals until we know what
Well,
we're,
you can't get
So
it.
you can't get a
Yeah.
title search.
You gotta have,
That's correct.
you gotta have a deeded
yes,
to get the title search, and, you know, so,
yes. I
it
think,
all comes together.
yeah, like I said, I think tonight, you know, we need to focus on 1 and 2. We can discuss that tonight, get
Yeah.
that kind of hashed out, and then once we do that, then we kind of move into the negotiations with Wayne, Mr. Sweezy, and kind of figure out what we can do over there, and then once we get to that point, then we,
So you're saying tonight we need to just go ahead and give them authority to do 1 and 2?
well, we say tonight, we need to go through 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we know where we're gonna build it.
I thought we just decided 1 and 2.
Well,
Kinda.
Well, number one's took care of, and number two, I say we just say up to 5 acres and see what the man has to say.
okay,
Yeah, put up to in front of it.
See, no more than 5 acres.
Yeah, not to exceed 5 acres, how you gonna word it?
Do we wanna have that in a vote?
Well, that's what I'm saying, I mean, let's just get it
Yeah,
together, what we wanna make a motion on, let's do it.
No more than 5 acres.
all right, I'll make that motion.
Do we need to make sure we don't need to put anything else in there before we do all that?
Are y'all gonna be making a motion to move this to committee as well, or no?
Well, we're just making a motion to say that we're looking to purchase no more than 5 acres of land.
I think our next step, we will have to, we may have to call, and again, I feel like we will. I mean, Jim and I talked to the owner the other day on the street. And, but anyhow, you know, I think he's gonna come to us with a price, and we'll need to be in executive session when we discuss that. We may have to have a special call meeting, you know, just to negotiate that when he comes to us with a price. Of course, there's lots of things that we'll have to consider when you purchase property. And then there's lots of things, if we're successful and we choose and we go ahead with this 5 acres, which is kind of why I think we're where we are now anyway, is because of the potential of this. You know, there's lots of things for us to keep in mind on costs associated with this. Right now, it's still in the county, it's not in the city. And right now, you don't have access to it, basically by any road, no access constructed. You know, there'll have to be an entrance built at some point, so we're gonna have to negotiate that. And, you know, what that looks like, I don't know. You know, the options would be just, you know, you guys know you're in the business. You know, do we have an entrance that just comes into our property? Will the state let us do that? Is that part of the road, a limited access road? And I think most of the new road, if you look at the driveways, it's not necessarily a limited access road, because there's several driveways that are closed, some that are wide. But, you know, there's lots of answers that we need to take into consideration. You know, of course, if we were to purchase this, we'd have, before we could obtain ownership, there has to be access to the property. So let's assume it's off of 155. But, you know, does an entrance get built down here, and then we have to access it through that entrance? Can we just put our own road in it? Is the entrance right beside it? You know, there are lots of things we have to get ironed out when we figure what the value of this property is for us. But if, I'm kind of like you guys, you know, we need to decide that we like this property, and then we need to decide how much we would like to purchase, and then we'll move from that point. Is kind of what I think.
Well, I think that's what the motion I put on the table was. We look at purchasing no more than 5 acres of ground.
Adjacent to Country Mart.
Adjacent to Country Mart. And if we put that to a vote,
Yeah, well, I seconded it, I think so.
yeah, so.
All right, is the whole motion, look at purchasing,
The motion is that we are looking to purchase no more than 5 acres adjacent to Country Mart on the Wayne Sweezy property.
And, you know, and again, we've said we could discuss it, we know what's gonna come after that.
Yeah.
You know, the roads, this, that, so that motion, you know, we won't buy the 5 acres if we can't get an entrance for it.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
there's a lot of things that
yes.
come
I mean,
into play.
yeah, it can still fall flat on its face.
Yeah.
So, but
But here's
Make this
tonight,
motion, vote on it, we'll get started with
the
something.
first move.
Well, I mean, this gives you, the judge, or the committee and the judge, you know, So it's, you taking our table, going to Wayne, and sitting down with him, so that's what we're looking at. What do we wanna do? To give you always to keep moving forward with that property. You know what we're looking at. Then, once we get, once we figure out what that is, whatever his price is, you bring that back, and then we start hashing it out. Then we start looking at what it's gonna cost to put entrances in, what it's gonna cost to get the water there, electric there, what it's gonna cost.
Yep.
All that, that's when we start hashing all that out, so. Then, once we figure out what that is, then the next step is, all right, we go into executive session, and we start negotiations, so. I think right now, this is our first logical step, is just to say, hey, we want you all to go, and this is what we're looking at, what can you do?
Okay,
So, we got a motion, and
and a second.
So, motion and a
Who
second.
made the motion?
I did.
Okay, who made the second?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before we vote, I want to make a full disclosure on this property. I have been in business with Wayne Sweezy in the past. I have farmed this exact piece of ground, because that's what I do for a living, or still do for a living, as well as this, is farm. But anyhow, I have no interest in this property whatsoever. Zero. I just want to make that full disclosure.
And I'll make the same thing, because I have done business with Wayne Sweezy on numerous occasions on that farm, and I have no issue or nothing to do with this property.
It's a valuable piece of property, it's close to where we want to be at.
So anyway, I just want to make that full disclosure before we proceed on. Is that covered, Madam Chancellor? Covered well? All right, great.
So you have no pecuniary interest in the property,
Define that.
money interest,
Yeah. No ownership whatsoever in this property.
and that is the same for you, Magistrate Price, correct?
Yes.
So, but anyway, all right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right. So, and then the rest of that stuff we'll take as step 2 and step 3 after today.
I think they need to be, we break that down.
Well, like I said, we can't do any of the other two.
No,
Until we get the land, yeah.
And one thing, we voted yesterday to go after, to seek the ag development funds and using ARPA funds, and I'm pretty sure I got a green light with all of that we can do it. So I talked to Bryce Roberts this morning. The county council funds go through him and a committee. I was on, I guess, 20-some years ago when it first came about. But anyhow, I think it's made up of 8 or 9 members. But we have to seek a local commitment. And I told Bryce that we'd be seeking a local commitment for $5,000 or $10,000. And then the balance, up to $250,000, would come from the state ag development funds. And I'm very confident that we will be successful in acquiring that. And since we can use the $250,000 of the ARPA funds, we've got a $500,000 start on building this project. And again, it was relayed to me from the Department of Agriculture. They understand the farmer's market does not happen every day of the week. Usually it's a couple days a week, and it's no problem mixing it in with a bigger project if you need to. Of course, we're going to have to blacktop and construct something, and we're going to have to hook the sewer. We're going to have to build a road around the farmer's market. So anyhow, it all seemed promising that we have an avenue to get started with our funding as far as that goes. So anyway, thank you all for that. The next item on the agenda is the Urgent Care Center, and you all have all seen this. And basically, the reason I want to bring this up is I would like us to go ahead and move and take action. Of course, it's going to be contingent on the city agreeing to do it also. But if we get it done, then it'll be on them to get the same done. But for us to enter into an interlocal agreement that us and the city apply for the community block grant, which could be up to $750,000. It'll have an administrative fee of somewhere around $25,000, so we don't have to pay it. They put it into the grant. So we're looking at, if the city and county together is awarded this grant, there'd be $725,000 that could go to this project. And I'm really confident that that would ensure that it would come and it would be built here. And I spoke with them at KIPTA and told them about what we're thinking about doing. I had a fellow from Senator McConnell's office in my office, and I run it all by him, and he's willing to help us out, sending letters, whatever of support, anything we can get to help us get this. So I'm real confident that if we make a move and I guess, Madam Councilor, we may need to vote to enter into an interlocal agreement to apply for that grant. Do we also need to make a motion that what else do we need to add to that? I'm just asking for guidance.
I think at this point, just the motion to enter into the interlocal
Okay, you have to pursue the community block grant with the city.
with the city. And then the
Okay.
city will have to do
The same.
the same.
Yeah, and basically, if we do this tonight, again, it'll be kind of pitched to the city in hopes that they'll do the same thing. And again, I spoke to them the other night, just pitching the idea, so they can start pondering it, I guess, and I will approach them at their next meeting to get on the agenda, and I will tell them what we have done as a group and hope that they'll do the same, and then we'll move forward with the process. So, I entertain a motion tonight that we enter into an interlocal agreement with the city to pursue the U of L urgent health care.
I'll make it. Oh, you're making it?
No, you can make it.
Oh,
No.
I'll make a motion that we enter into interlocal agreement with Taylorsville City for the purposes of the UBEL Healthcare Facility Project.
With the community block grant.
With the community block grant.
I'll second it, and I have some questions.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mike, seconded by Zach. Did you get all that, Lynn? All right, thank you.
So we're not have to put up any kind of money towards this, correct?
No, we have to be, they have to have a vehicle to apply for this. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and claim that I know all the details, because I don't. I just know that, the way they look at these type of block grants is and I can't cite you all the three needs, but two of the needs we meet with the city. You have to have low income. The county has higher income, the city has lower income. That's just how it is. So when grants are awarded, they look at income needs, or income-based needs. And then they also looked at, I wish I had those three things, but one of them is like an urgent need per se. It doesn't say urgent medical need, but anyway, two of the three that I read criteria on these, we've got met very well when we do it with the city.
Well, like I said, my question, I guess, my other question would be if, say we don't meet the needs, and they don't go in an interlocal agreement with us, as U of L walking off the table.
That I don't know, I can't speculate 100%.
But our chances, from what I understand, our chances are a
Oh,
lot
that's
better
better.
with the city than without.
I know it does, this makes the second time there,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I have hope that this will come to town regardless, but I know and I kind of figured that, we need to support it ever how we can, because it's such an urgent need.
I agree 100%, I'm not trying to not support it, I just.
Yeah.
If we file for this grant and get it, and U of L doesn't come, can this grant be applied elsewhere?
It's probably not that easy. I would guess it doesn't work that way.
We'd have to
Does it
get
have to
back
be
to you,
specific?
but I suspect the answer is no. I suspect it's specific to the need that you're looking at.
Would the grant have to be specific in the wording for U of L, period?
We'd need to see the grant that we're applying for before we could tell you definitively, but typically the answer would be yes.
Yeah.
That it is for a specific purpose, and if you're not gonna do that purpose, then you would not.
You're not getting,
Yeah, I mean, I've been,
But again, we need to look at it.
yeah, we'll have to look and get advice on how the grant, has to be worded. And I mean, KIPTA will help us with that. We can, lean on KCO, DLG, there's all these places that exist to help us as a county, take care of our needs. And, I think one of the most needs we have is adding medical. I've shared with you guys, just to add a medical abilities where everyone doesn't have to drive to Louisville or Shelbyville. So, but anyhow, this is a step, and I've been in contact with U of L all along when they came and asked for that 1.2 million of ARPA, and then I thought we need to find another avenue, and this is another avenue. And again, it's not costing us anything. We'll have to be the pencil pusher.
I agree, we need to, whatever we can do to help get up here with it, there's definitely need for it. I just wanna make sure that we're not,
What I understand is we ain't got nothing to lose.
on this, yes, and I'm 100% for it, I'm fine,
Yeah. On this particular deal.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that we're,
Yeah, and I mean, I hope they come, even if we don't get it, I sure hope they come, because I really feel our community will benefit with this.
Yes.
So,
Well, I
this
think
is,
it'll show them that at least we're trying.
yes.
And even if they don't get the block grant, they'll say, well, they tried, so we're still gonna come anyway. I think it just gives us
We'll go up on the competition.
so, but anyhow, we signed up for this job to benefit our residents, and this is one way I think we've all identified that it would, so. But, so we have a motion and a second that we enter into an interlocal agreement with the city. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. I will, when we get these minutes done, I will get them to the city so they can consider our action we took here, and hopefully they'll move along. I'm not sure. They meet twice a month.
I went to one of the meetings about a week and a half ago.
I don't want to prolong this much longer, so nobody cut my head off here. But I did, everybody got a copy of this.
Yeah, we didn't even look at yours, Michael.
Well, yeah,
Sorry.
thanks, yeah, no. I was initially talking to Jim about it, and, I think, I liked a lot of things about Jim's initial drawing on this pavilion, but my initial thought on it was, that I would like to segregate sports away from the pavilion and leave that in the parks or another indoor facility that we do at a later time, which we have vaguely talked about that later on down the road, and keep this more open to craft fairs and shows and musical acts and things of that nature, more of a community center rather than a sports, because I think it'd be best if we keep those things segregated. And I would just like for maybe you guys, I was gonna see if Jim would not care to maybe take his drawing and my drawing and kind of incorporate them together and come up with a mixture of the two that might, his cosmetic appeal and some of his stuff that he's got going on, and put it with what I got going on, and maybe he can, just anytime, then he can bring us back another drawing to look at, if everybody's okay with that.
Yeah.
Still, what's Jim's this right here? Not very nice.
Well,
Can I see this?
Yeah.
as you,
Jim, I don't think I got one of these.
Okay.
You can have that one, he'll give me another one.
I've got the original at home.
I tore some of the papers out there.
I mean, Zach brought up a good point, they'd like to have an office space
Oh,
and
yeah, absolutely.
and a break room, which I didn't include. I'm not a builder, so this drawing is rough. This ain't no Bob Ross masterpiece here. But I did kind of like my overall idea. Essentially, if you take the roof off, it's 4 buildings underneath of the roof that all have roll-up doors on them that they can be used, to go in and out. And it has, I guess you say, what'd you call it, like a breezeway that goes lengthwise and across the center section, which would allow vendors and stuff to set up within that. And I think it would be more conducive to other craft shows, farmers markets and things like that that may come in there to want to utilize that space, because it can be indoor and outdoor, one or the other, or both at the same time. And we also want to be inviting to musical acts to come in, because that's a big thing that we compete with other counties, so I just want to keep that.
I just want to say, well, I really like this idea, that Mike's got here, I like this drawing. I really do like it.
Oh, you want to say that?
The reason I like
Yeah.
it is the 4 separate building ideas, you can have 2 or 3 different events going on at the same time.
You can heat one when you need it, and the other 4, 3, or whatever.
How
You
big
gotta
would,
heat.
how big would each building?
Well, the whole thing is 120 by 150, so,
So how wide are the breezeways, that's what I'm saying?
well, the one going crossways, and the short breezeway would be 30 foot wide, going from one side to the other, and then the one that runs lengthways of the building is 40 foot wide.
Big area then.
Yeah, it's a large area where, vendors can set up tables down both sides and stuff. I want enough room where people could pass, not bumping into each other, and they
Looks
could,
like it's 150 by 120.
but if they wanted,
Whole area.
but if they wanted to
Dan
have,
was talking about the individual buildings, I believe.
like if it was raining, but they wanted to still find be outside, they could all get in those breezeways or whatever, and utilize maybe one room.
Okay, well, let me, I'm just thinking, let me shoot this back. Okay, my initial drawing was, to have 2 separate buildings, basically with a breezeway in between them. The Quonset hut type thing was gonna be in the back, which had a basketball court, blah, blah, blah. Okay, get rid of that, okay? What about using, if we got 5 acres, we can do this. Use your plan for the one section, and then use this plan that I've got for the front building, which is basically a finished area like this. You know what I mean? For craft shows and for knife shows, gun shows, the gorge show, anything. I mean, it's big enough where you can have a portable stage where you can get up and sing, and I mean, and have a dance floor, or,
The honky tonk band.
That's right.
and that way we got 2 different venues here, one more for like an open air type thing like you got, and then one more of an enclosed area for more.
So you essentially have 4 40 by 60s.
Whatever it comes out to, but yeah.
150 minus 30 is 120, so you got 60 foot
I
length on each building.
understand the idea of a nice open area, but I don't know if we want to go on the hook for 2 separate facilities at the same time.
Well, I mean, I'm
It
just saying,
essentially
we would
would
have
be.
basically 5 different buildings. If you got 4, and we got this one, of course, this one would be,
It's all under one roof, but it's split into 4 big rooms.
Well, I mean, it's basically what he's saying is, so what he's proposing is, so you still have yours would be like in the back, his would be in the front, down that arch or whatever to the front of it. He would come into a big open auditorium, say, setting,
Yeah.
type deal, and then you walk back in behind, maybe have a breezeway connecting to or something, and walk into what you got later.
go into yours. I think that's a good idea.
Well,
I like the
I
drawings,
would be-
Jim, but I think you got a $10 million setup here.
Got what?
I said, I like your drawings, but I think you got a $10 million
The
bill.
only thing I say to that, if people want to do that,
I would
I
be
would be
surprised.
about putting his part around on the back, because if you look at I had the front of mine facing 55, and I had a lot of paved area out in front of there. If you did have concerts or something of that nature, it would be viewable from the roadway and areas where people could set up, vendors could set up.
Yeah, always.
It's all visible from the road if you have an outdoor event such as music act or something like that, so we would put gyms in the back.
I think we gotta take into consideration, it's gonna cost $2 million to get ready for this. By the time you build a road,
Buy the land,
buy the land, put your sewer in, water,
blacktop.
the ARPA money is not enough to do everything that we're trying to do, if that's what everyone wants to use it on, so
Well,
it's gonna have to be thought about hard.
and still, I was still trying to keep, like the whole, say, keep it simple, stupid, so I was just kind of keeping it square, rectangle, and,
I think we could talk about this till we're blue in the face.
well, yeah, I mean, but I wanted just to bring up kind of just some differences between our plans, y'all think about it, and I was,
I mean, that's honestly what I've been thinking the whole time with this pavilion, this, community center, whatever we want to call it. It's more of an open atmosphere.
I just
That's what I
wanna-
like with this setup here, like I said, I like the idea of having four different different area, actual buildings, we can have actual different events, but that's something we gotta think about before laying this thing out. Is we're not gonna have to just think about the overall cost of what that is, we're gonna think about the overall cost of what the whole project's gonna be.
Oh, I'm with you. I just.
We gotta buy the ground, we gotta get the site ready, we gotta buy, we gotta lay contractors out, get architect drawings, we gotta get water, we gotta get utilities, we gotta get, it's gonna be a massive project.
And again, we can, we're on the starting line.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say, I know we're on step one, and I'm talking about step 672, but I just wanted to put it in your all's
I
mind.
just want to show you all these pictures.
Yeah, non-licensed folks. But the thing is, it's like,
That's a good drawing stuff. Very good.
I've purchased property and I've built things too, and I understand, and I've done a lot of things without that one. I understand exactly what you're all talking about. We might have to back up and punt about how much money we got left over by the time we get the property acquired and look over those things.
We could easily, whatever we decide to build, if we get this property acquired, whatever we decide to build, I wanna build it smart, and y'all do too. We build what we can afford, but yet it'll serve a purpose, and then 5 years down the road, the next court, we get zero interest money that we can budget and pay for, more grants come about, we add on, another need arises, something, we get some money for, we add on.
Wrong one built overnight.
Right.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we, instead of deciding on what the building's gonna be like today, is let's buy the land, let's get the survey, and all that done, and see what that costs. And then get estimates on whatever, the site work we gotta do as far as.
I agree.
I think we need estimates on the site work and all that before we purchase.
Once we've got the land and we know what all the site work's gonna cost us, the sewers and water, then we'll know how much we got left for the building.
I'm with you 100%.
Okay, let's do that.
But you asked me to make a drawing, and I just asked y'all to look at it. So there you go.
All right, well, thank you all, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, motion by Jim, second by Zach, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, thank you guys.
Jim,
Hour and a half.
Jim, that's Zach's job. Adjourn.
It must be that chair there.
Almost iron.
Always did that. Don't do that.
Turn your mics off, Jim, we make your headway.
We are. We gotta keep that ball rolling. Get right to it.
You had to be smarter than mine, turn it off, and I'm not.
It sits down here on the very end, and the indentation,
You seen that movie, Charlie Wilson Floor?
push
Tom
ball.
Hanks?
been a long time.
That's a wonderful movie. At the end, he's talking about needing to build a school in Afghanistan, and he said, that ball keeps bouncing.